Now, today we are going to discuss about a very important aspect in statistics is that correlation. Up to now, we have discussed with univariate variable, that is a population which is consisting of only one variable, that is a salary of employees, height of the players, like this. If data consists of two variables, then it is termed as bivariate population. That is when we are having a data of two variables, that we have already done it, that is gender or age versus height. And if it is more than two variables, then it is called multivariate population. So this thing we have covered it. But in case of bivariate or multivariate population, we want to find out if there is any relation between these two variables. That is, for example, is age is having related with the weight of the body or the height of the body? If yes, then how much? The other examples are the students who are devoting number of hours in their studies. Is it related with family income? I can give you example. I myself have seen some students who are coming from you can say weak families as far as income is concerned. Their family income was less, so it is not easy for them to sustain in the hostel or to pay the fees, etc. So what they used to do, they used to do some work also. For example, they are preparing projects of other students or drawings for other students, so that some money they are earning it, but somehow they are sacrificing their study timing, because preparing a drawing or preparing a project for somebody else, it takes time. So it depends upon that. Or age is a factor. As you grow, you become more sincere. It may be reverse also. In your childhood you are maybe more sincere, and after that you are lazy. And my time, I know that in childhood I am not sincere at all, but after when I grow up, then I become sincere in my studies. Similarly, gender, we all know that the girls are more sincere than boys. This is, nothing is wrong and nothing is hidden. And is it number of study hours of the student is related with the gender? If yes, that we want to find out. Now the question is any association exist between these two or more variable? If yes, then of what degree, how much? That is very important. Is there any cause and effect relationship between two variables? That is, can using one variable or set of variables we can estimate other variables? That is, you can say your income versus your expenditure. Your income increases, your expenditure is increasing, or your expenditure is constant, or your expenditure is not increasing at the rate which people are expecting. So one can find out is there is any cause between those relation, and how much is the effect of that between these two variables. The first one which we say, is there is any association between that? Yes, that can be answered by the technique of correlation coefficient. And second one, that is cause and effect. What is the reason and how much is effect? is being done or is being seen by technique of regression. So that's why the correlation and regression are very powerful tool in this subject statistics, and using this we can solve number of problems. Now if one wants to study the relationship between any two logical related variables, that is, we want to find out the influence of one variable on another, then covariance or correlation we are using it. Both the covariance or correlation both measures the extent of relationship and dependency between the two variables. So the relationship means if one variable increases or decreases, then correspondingly second variable also increases or decreases. So if one wants to study the relationship between more than two variables, then you can use the technique of multiple correlation and partial correlation. And covariance. Now we talk between covariance and correlation. Now covariance indicates the direction of linear relationship between the variables. That is, one is increasing or the corresponding other is also increasing, or one is increasing, the second is decreasing, like that. And correlation measure strength as well as direction. That is, one is increasing one direction, second is decreasing or increasing, but with how much strength, that is being calculated by correlation. So covariance is only giving us the direction and correlation gives us direction as well as strength. And if we have to find out the relationship between categorical variables, then we have to use the association or cross tabulation or tabular presentation works. So association techniques we can use that. Today we are not going to discuss with that part, that will be say later on. So covariance is a measure of joint variability of two variables. So positive covariance means that two variables moves together. That is, one is increasing, second is also increasing, or one is decreasing, second is also decreasing. So covariance is 0. That means two variables are independent, they are not related at all. And negative covariance means then both the variables are moving opposite direction. That is, one is increasing, the second variable decreasing, or first variable decreasing, the second variable increases. So this is the three types of covariances: positive, 0 and negative. The formula is sample covariance formula, xy summation I is going to 1 to n, xi minus x bar multiply yi minus y bar divided by n minus 1. And population covariance formula, sigma xy summation I is going to 1 to n. Minded this n is not capital N, that indicates summation of frequency. It is a number of observation. Only from where I have taken it, that author has used it for the purpose of presenting. It is a population number of number of data in a population. That's it. So this capital N is not related with summation of frequencies. So capital N, small n is the same thing here. So summation I is going 1 to n, xi minus mu x, that is the mean of variable x, and into multiply by yi minus mean of y and divide by n. So that's how a simple formula of covariance of sample as well as for population. The only difference is in sample covariance we are divided by n minus 1, in population we are dividing by n. And the range of covariance lies between minus infinity to plus infinity. And now it is a bit difficult and to interpret the result into any perspective. What we will do? Minus infinity to plus infinity is very big. And while correlation gives the strength, which we can interpret very easily. This is the difference between correlation and covariance also. Covariance, difficult to interpret, but correlation is easy to interpret. We'll see further. Let's take the example. This is the price paid for living area of this much square meter. The data is given to us. This is the price in dollars or rupees, or this is living area in meters. So for the different plot size, the different rates are provided. So if obtain the covariance, just see such a big number 43450106.14. Now that shows there is a very good relationship, and this relation is very positive. So it means if living area, the size of living area increases, the price of that land is also increases. But when we compare that the covariance lies from minus infinity to plus infinity, so this the significance of this value cannot be interpreted. So we can't say what is the strength between these two. We can only say that they are positively related. Price increases, this increases, this price is also increases. That's what we can say, and nothing can be added in that. How much? We can't. That will be given by the answer correlation. So correlation lies between -1 to +1. And now between -1 to +1, it is easy for everybody to interpret the strength between the two variables, because 0 means independent, -1 -5, 0 +5 and plus 0.5 and +1. So that gives us a sense of power between the relation between the two variables. So if one variable is proportional to second variable, that is one variable increases, then second variable also increases. If one variable decreases, second variable also decreases. This phenomena is known as positive correlation or directly correlated. And if one variable is inversely proportional to second variable, that is one variable increases, the second variable decreases, and one variable decreases, second variable increases. So this is called negatively correlated or inversely correlated variables. And if similarly, if two variables are independent, then there will not be any correlation between them. That correlation will be 0. So if increase or decrease in one variable causes increase or decrease in another variable at a constant rate, then it is called linear correlation. That is, rate of increase is constant. That is, both the variables are related in the form of a straight line, y is equal to ax plus b. But at the same time, if change in one variable causes a change in other variable at different rates, mind it, different rates, not at the constant rate. One variable increase let it be 100 times, the second variable increases 200 times or 300 times. So that is that changes. So then it is called non-linear or curvilinear correlation. That is, both the variables are related in the form of a curve, not in the form of a straight line. That is the difference between the two. So relation between two variables, positively linearly correlated, negatively linearly correlated, positively curvilinear correlated, negatively curvilinearly correlated, or not correlated at all. So these are any relation among these 5 exists between the two variables if they are related. Now correlation and causation. What the cause means, we already know what the causation means. correlation provides an idea about degree and direction of relationship. That is, in which direction they are moving and how much is the strength. But correlation does not tell us the cause and effect of relationship between the two variables. A very simple example, it is a mathematics. If you find out that we have a production data of coal and number of cows in a country, if mathematically I want to find out correlation, so come out that they are very positively correlated, high degree positive correlation. But what is the relation between coal production and number of cows? There is no relation. So that is a causation. That implies correlation, but what is the cause of that is not explained by the correlation. That is the difference between correlation and causations. So it is mathematically, yes, coal production and number of cows. It is a mathematics, it is a related, giving very high degree correlation. But there is no relation between number of cows and coal production. That is the difference between the two. That is one variable causing or affecting the other variable. That is not being explained by correlation. That is the big lacuna in the correlation. What is the reason of this erroneous? The first reason is it may be a sheer coincidence. That is a high degree of correlation between the variable which has no relation between them. It is simply a coincidence, mathematical relation. Second one is mutual dependence. Sometimes variables may enter and influence each other, especially in business and economics data. Let's take an example. Now, increase in demand of a commodity will immediately increase in price. You know that few years back in Uttar Pradesh, there was a rumor that there is a shortage of salt. And you know what is the cost of a salt? Normally it works out to be 20 rupees to 40 rupees per kg. But as the demand increase, as the people come to know that the salt is not available, so people start buying into the shops and buying salt. And the rate of salt at that day touches 400 rupees per kg, 800 rupees per kg. Nobody can dream of that. And the shopkeeper has earned. How much you consume salt in a month? Ask from your mother. Very few families are, if your family size is really big, then you are consuming more than 1 kg in a month. Otherwise not. 1 kg is sufficient, 2 kg is maximum sufficient for a family in a month. But increase in demand immediately increase in the price. But the reverse, if increase in price, that decreases the demand. Now you just see that immediately, if increase in the price of a particular item, let's say that high-end clothes, or let's say now the sweets, or let's say you can say for travel ticket, if that increases, the demand decreases because people can't afford that at that price. So first of all, their aim is to run the home. So this is a reverse case. So the price and demand affecting each other. In first case, demand is affecting the price. That is, demand is a cause and changes coming in the price. So effect is the price. But in second case, price is a cause and demand is effect. So demand and cause and effect, now it should be very clear to you. So in the first case, demand is a main cause that has put an effect on the price. In second case, price is a cause, that is a reason, and that affects on demand. So here it is somewhat difficult to isolate the exact cause from the effect. That is, what is the reason and how much is the effect. Now both things are same, but scenario is different, and then the whole story changes. So this is also a reason of error. Now then the influence of third variable or hidden variable is also possible, that may give us confused results. That is, for example, this year we have seen the production of rice and production of wheat per acre, they are highly correlated. The production of rice increases, production of wheat also increases per acre. What is the relationship between rice and wheat? Maybe that is due to good weather condition, good rainfall, or very good quality of fertilizers or manure or irrigation system. There may be number of reasons that may have affect the production of rice and production of wheat per acre. So sometime error is also being seen because both the variables are influenced by some hidden variables. That is the reason. Now how to measure the correlation? There are different methods of measuring the correlation. The first one is scatter diagram or datogram. Second one is Karl Pearson coefficient of correlation. Then bivariate two-way frequency table correlation method, rank correlation method, and concurrent deviation method. Today our discussion will be limited to scatter diagram and Karl Pearson coefficient of correlation, and bivariate rank correlation method and concurrent deviation method we will discuss in the next class. What is a scatter diagram? We already discussed in our previous classes. It is a graphical method that will give us some idea about the correlation. This method is not giving us the exact correlation, how much, but it will give us some nature or degree of correlation. How much is the degree? Highly correlated, poorly correlated, like this. So first of all we have to plot these two variables on x-axis and a y-axis. Then whatsoever the value of those variables are there, that we put it in the form of dots. That's why it is called scatter diagram, and due to dots it is also called datogram. So then by looking the scatterness of the data or dots, we can comment on the association between these two variables. But if this method may give very misleading impression if data is really large. Let's see. Now just see in this diagram, all the dots are increasing in this direction. So this is known as perfect positive linear correlation, straight line. We just discussed a correlation, a linear correlation, that is y is equal to ax plus b format. And in this direction, if dots are coming in this direction, then is known as perfect negative correlation. Now in this diagram, dots are like this, and mostly dots are between this central line. So this is known as high degree positive linear correlation, and if it is like this, then it is a high degree negative linear correlation. In this case, data is more scattered. Still we try to put up a line, but data is very scattered. So it is very low degree positive linear correlation, and if it is like this, that is a low degree negative linear correlation. So due to straight lines, we are in position to say it is a linear correlation. But we may also do some errors in this case. Let's see. Now if it is not in the form of straight line, Now it is known as perfect positively non-linear correlation. It is a curve and this is perfect negative non-linear correlation, like this, because curve is moving downwards. And this is high degree positive non-linear correlation. It is a curve, so it is non-linear, but all the values are along the curve, so it is a positive non-linear. And here curve is decaying, so it is high degree negative non-linear correlation. And this is the case, it is low degree positive non-linear correlation, and it is low degree negative non-linear correlation. So some correlation is there, but it is non-linear and negative in the direction. So that's how from scatter diagram we can simply, you can say, judge the relationship between the two variables. How much is the relationship we can't say. And this diagram, circular time, shows no correlation. Like this U curve, no correlation. Now all the data is spread over the whole graph, so it is no correlation. So diagrams are like this, then it is known as no correlation state. That is the difference between correlation and no correlation stages. Now let's have with the data with us. That is a way to find out the relationship between per capita income and percentage of literacy. If there is any relationship between the two. So by using the scatter diagram, we will see. Just put the data into Excel. Actually nowadays Excel's everyday Excel are changing its format, so I am not going to details of Excel. I will simply say that we have chosen the chart and chosen this scatter diagram, XY scatter, and then it is being plotted like this. From this plot we can say, we can judge how much is the correlation between the two variables. So we have given the heading also, chart title also. That's how we can show it, and finally you can draw it another way, another sheet also. So it is the one and the same thing. So the diagram shows how much is the correlation. So this is the final scatter diagram when we declare it. So that gives us per capita income and literacy rate and scatter diagram. So we can say it is a positively high correlated correlation. Just draw a line approximately like this. So mostly data is nearby. We can't say this is an outlier. It is almost near to that straight line. So it is positively linearly correlated. Now coming to mathematical method. Karl Pearson coefficient. Now Professor Karl Pearson, that is 1857 to 36, a great British mathematician. I told you that statistics is the son of mathematics, and operation research is son of statistics, and computer science or IT is again son of statistics. From there this streams has come up. So this he has given the formula which can measure the degree of relationship between the two variables, and is known as Pearson correlation coefficient or correlation coefficient or product movement correlation. Any name you can give it, all the three names. Different authors are using different name, but we use only the name of correlation coefficient. So R is denoting the sample correlation coefficient, and rho is telling us about population correlation coefficient. So these are the two symbol we are using, R for sample and rho for population correlation coefficient. And this formula, when we are using it, we are using the following these three assumptions. What are these assumptions? The first assumption is both the variables should be normally distributed and continuous random variable. What is normally distributed? We have not done normal distribution up to now, but it shows in the center the value is more and tails are, if you just remember the kurtosis where we have shown you the some type of diagram, all those type of diagram shows a normal distribution. The relationship between them should be linear in nature. Karl Pearson coefficient is not used for non-linear correlation coefficient. And each pair of data should be unconnected with other pair. That each pair of data should be independent. That is x1, y1 should be independent to x2, y2. And x2, y2 should be independent to x3, y3 and so on. So all the data values, the set of data values should be independent to other values. So using the conditions, the formula is given by the correlation coefficient is 1 by n, summation I is going 1 to n, xi minus x bar, yi minus y bar, divided by under root 1 by n, as summation I is going 1 to n, xi minus x bar square, under root 1 by n, summation I is going from 1 to n, yi minus y bar square. This is nothing but covariance x and y divided by sigma x, sigma y. And x bar, y bar are mean of data xi's and yi's. So we can do the substitution into the formula that dxi, xi minus x bar and yi is yi minus y bar. So our formula is simplified, and we can also further simplify the formula using this value of r. So either one of the used for any of the formula. Nowadays it is available in your calculator. You can go in your Excel sheet. You can use SPSS, R or SAS, any software also, you will get this formula. But one should know how to use it. Now what are the properties of correlation coefficient? Now correlation coefficient always lies between -1 to +1. That is, if r is equal to +1, that shows there is a perfect positive correlation between these two variables. If r is equal to -1, that shows there is a perfect negative correlation between the two variables. And if r is equal to 0, it means they are totally uncorrelated. Further, the formula of r is independent of change of scale and origin. That we are changing the scale as well, we are changing the origin by using this formula xi minus a divided by h, yi minus b divided by k. This where a, h, b, k are constants. So our calculation become very simple. We just put this substitution, then formula become very simple and we can solve it very easily. And the last property of r is, if r is equal to 0, that does not imply that two variables are independent. That does not imply. Maybe a relation is 0, a like between relation between husband and wife, but not, you can say they are not related, they are related. Still in a home, you don't say that I am talking of my wife. I have a good correlation between us. But if two variables are independent, then definitely r is equal to 0. That is sure. But r is equal to 0 does not mean they are independent. So these are the three properties of r. Now let's take example how to calculate r. Value of xi's are given, yi's are given. So first of all, we have calculated the mean 338.5 divided by 10, the 10 observation, total is this much, 33.85, and y bar is 5010 divided by 10, 501. So we are using previous formula, dxi, xi minus x bar. So deviation from the average will always be, sum of average will be 0. A deviation, sum of deviation taken from the average will always be 0. That simplifies our formula also. So dxi square 5.25 square 27.5625. So 5.55 square 30.8025. Similarly dyi square 25 square is 625, 33 square is 1089, 192 square is 36,864. So this value we get it. Similarly dxi dyi, that is how we are multiplying this two value. That 25 multiplied by 5.25, 131.25, 33 multiplied by 5.55, 183.15, and total is 8668. Now put this value to the formula. R is equal to 8668 divided by under root of 1099.985 multiplied by 96432. That works out to be 0.84161. That is 0.84. So the correlation between x and y is 0.84, and there is a positive correlation and high degree correlation. We can say normally if it is more than 0.5, so we used to say it is a high degree correlation. Now what is the relation between covariance and correlation? That you can see between the formula itself. So rho xy is the correlation between variable x and y, and covariance is the between the variable x and y, and sigma x is the standard deviation of the x variable, and sigma y is the standard deviation of y variable. So this is a relation between covariance and correlation. Now the same question which I had discussed earlier for finding out the covariance, that is price versus size of the living area. So just see the same data we are using it, and we obtain the covariance with price and living area, such a huge value and is very high, infinity to minus I. Now we obtain correlation. Now correlation between these two tells us 0.71239023. So it means that now in comparison to covariance, correlation is much better to represent the relationship between the two variables. So here we can say that the size of the plot and price of the plot are highly positively correlated. That is, the size of the plot increases, so price will also increases. So that we can say, so in comparison to covariance, correlation gives us much better relationship to study the relationship between the two variables. So this is the same example which we had done it earlier, that shows us the relevance of covariance as well as correlation. Now there is no problem. Mostly the data x and y are measured in different units. There is different problem, but still we can calculate correlation coefficient. What we have to do? We have to simply replace x and y by their z score. That is, we are using normality assumption. We are converting into a normal variable. So for each value of x and y, we compute zx and zy. The formula is zx is equal to x minus mu x divided by sigma x, and zy is y minus mu y divided by sigma y for each value of x and y, and rho is equal to summation of zx divided by number of observation, that is n. Let's see. Let we have a data of 5 salesperson where x represent the number of sales training courses which he has taken it, and y represent number of no sales day per month. So salesperson 1, he has taken 7 courses, and in his tenure within a month, in 3 days he is not able to make any sale. Salesperson number 2, he has taken 6 courses and he is having 4 days with no sale is being done by him. Third one, He has taken 5 courses and unfortunately he fails to make a sale 5 days. Another 4 salesmen, he has taken 4 courses and he is having 6 days or no sale days. And fifth one, taken only 3 courses and he is having 7 no sale days. So number of courses and number of days, what is the relation? Both the units are different. So we want to find out the correlation between these two, x and y. So we have to use this formula, this z score. So first of all, mu y 25 by 5, mu x is 5, both are same. Now we computed sigma y, that summation of y minus vi squared divided by n is works out to be 1.4, and sigma x is again summation of xi minus mu x by square divided by 1 by n, 1.4. So when we convert it into z score, just see that these are the values of xi and yi. Now we are converted into z score. Minus 1.4, minus 7, 0, this value, and then zy zxi, this value. So rho is equal to summation of zy zx divided by n, that is minus 4.9 divided by 5, that is minus 0.98, approximately minus 1. It means there is a very highly degree negative correlation between the number of sale day and number of courses. It means the person who is having the minimum courses who attended, he is having maximum number of no sales days. Otherwise, if we take it this value, there is a different units, so we can't use this formulas. So by converting it to z, we are able to find out that the sale person who has attended more courses, so is having very less number of no sales days. So by using this formula, we can find out the correlation between those two variables which are measured in two different units. Now interpretation of the correlation coefficient. Now although correlation coefficient gives extent of relationship between two variables, but it does not mean that correlation coefficient calculated on the basis of sample is also significant. That is, it means is also hold good for the case of population. This is a $1 billion question. Sample shows there is a good relation, but is it the good relation is exists between the population of the two also or not? That is important, and that we can do it. We can use a test of significance procedure, that is to talk about the reliability for population. It is done by T distribution test. We are not discussed distribution, we are not discussed the probability theory up to now, but some portion we will talk it without the knowledge of population density, but without the population of distribution, population distribution, because it is very simple. And when we will do the population distribution, then it will be very easy to interpret. Now using probable error of correlation coefficient, we can check the reliability of the correlation coefficient up to some extent. That is, what the sample is saying is also good for population or not. Now the probable error is based on standard error, and this standard error is given by the formula. Standard error is SC by R is equal to 1 minus R square divided by under root n, where n is the number of pairs of observation, that is xi yi, and R is the correlation coefficient. So probable error, the probable error is given by the formula 0.6745 multiplied by standard error. So this is a test to check the reliability of correlation coefficient. If R is equal to less than probable error, then it means correlation is not significant at all. That is a population correlation coefficient and sample correlation coefficient has not much relation. So it is not true for population, we can say. And similarly, if R is greater than 6 PER, it means correlation is significant. Yes. So it means whatsoever you have done from the sample is also, we are talking of the population, we can say. In other cases, nothing can be said. So that we need to study by using t distribution or by t test. That is between the values probable error and 6 times probable error. So we can say the probable error gives the limit in which the population correlation coefficient correlation may be expected to lie. That is R plus minus probable error R. Sorry, this is not any bar. This is by mistake it is being printed. This is by mistake. So it also means that is if another sample from that population is drawn, then correlation coefficient of this sample is also expected to lie within this limit. So this is the limit where we can say the correlation is lying within that. Let's see. Let there are two correlation coefficient 0.2 and 0.885 are given for the data of size 15 and 125, and then test the significance of R. That is, this correlation coefficient significance is there or not? Is it important or not? R is equal to 0.2. There are 15 observation and capital small n. Don't confuse. One and the same thing. Number of observation 0.85, 15, 0.82, 125, 0.85, 125. So probable error is 0.96 by 3.87, 0.248, 0.28 divided by 3.87, 0.072. You know the formula probable error. Just reminded 0.6745 plus SCR. And what is standard error formula? 1 minus R square divided by under root 10. So remember these formulas. And similarly, is the 6 time probable error 1.41, 0.43, 0.51, 52, 0.150. So here in this case R is 0.2 and 6 time PER 1.41 and PER is 0.248. So what is our assumption is that if R is less than PER, the correlation is not significant at all. So 0.2 is less than 0.248, so we can say R is not significant. And here 0.85 and it is 0.072, it is a reverse. So R is greater than 0.072, so it means R is definitely significant. Similarly, third case, it is 0.2 and is 0.5152. So here nothing can be said because not within the range. There is R is less than 6 PER and R is greater than 6 PER. And 0.85 and 0.025 R is definitely significant. So we can, using this formula, we can see the difference between the two and we can comment on the values of that. So that is the reason, that is we are using that formula and say that which one is significant, and here the significance we have come up on the basis of R times 6 times PER. Yes, this is the formula. R is greater than 6 times PER, correlation is significant. So that is the reason we have computed both 6 times PER and R times there. Here both are satisfying, here this is not there. So here this is following this formula, this is following this formula, this is following this formula, but here it is neither this or this, one is failing it, so nothing can be said. Next come coefficient of determination and coefficient of alienation. What is this? Now there is another information that the square of correlation coefficient is telling us. It is called coefficient of determination. R square is nothing but is also known as coefficient of determination. and 1 minus r square is called coefficient of alienation, that is denoted by k square, and this coefficient can be refers as percentages and conveys very important information about reason of variability between two variables. What is the reason of variability between the two variables is able to we can find out from coefficient of determination and coefficient of alienations. Let's see. Now let the correlation coefficient is between two variables is r is equal to 0.9. So r square coefficient of determination is 0.81. So we can say coefficient of determination implies that is 81% changes in variable y that is occurring, that is only due to changes in variable x. So it means variable x is influencing variable y only 81%. That is very important. So whatsoever the changes we will do in x, so its contribution in corresponding changes in y is limited to only 81%, not more than that. And rest of the 19% changes which are occurring in y is random and we cannot explain it why it is occurring. We can only say in a y that 81% changes which are being done is only due to x, but 19% we cannot say that is x or something else. So thus there are other factors unknown which are responsible for rest of the 90% changes in y when we make a changes in x. So the coefficient of determination is telling us the strength of relationship between two variables in more precise form. We are very happy r is very high, r is very high, but r square is telling us a more story. That is telling us how much is the exact relationship, how much is the total strength. We can say precisely how much both are related. That is the coefficient determination is telling us. And coefficient determination we can also you can say it is a explained variance divided by total variance. That is more useful and readily comprehensible measure for indicating the percentage variation in the dependent variable, which is accounted for by the independent variable. We are not discussing dependent and independent. That is, independent variable is influencing the dependent variable. So variable x is moving, y is also moving. So y is influenced by x. So we can say x is independent and y is dependent variable. So explained variable formula is given 1 minus sy square divided by sigma y square, where sy square is yc minus y bar, that is mean square, and sigma y square is y minus y bar square. So the coefficient of alienation is nothing but coefficient of non-determination. So k square is equal to 1 minus explained variance divided by total variance. So that is the coefficient of alienation, that is k square is equal to 1 minus r square. So that's how we are able to solve these two variables. Now sometime one try to find out the relation between entirely two unrelated variables. That is, if we are trying to correlate the number of accidents in a city with respect to sale of toys per month. As previously we discussed, that is production of a coal and number of cows in a country. There is no relation. So in this case we are only doing mathematical computation but have no relation. So we have to be very, very careful in finding the relation between the variable. So by this we can say sometime it is also possible that data is not showing any variable or any correlation, but on the basis of experience, one expects the relationship. It may be due to following reason. Why it is not showing any reason? First reason, in reality there is no relationship exist. We are only thinking hypothetically that there is some relationship, or variable is not defined properly. That is also a problem. Third one is non-linearity exists in the data. Data is non-linear. Again, there is a problem. Or fourth one is data is not sufficient. So these are the reason we can take some wrong assumption. We can take wrong relationship, or we conclude wrongly. These are the only, you can say, hints for you to take care that once you declare the relationship between two variables, you have to be very careful. Only then you can do that. So by this we are able to conclude, we are able to find out the relation between two variables, that is the correlation coefficient. We are done only two methods, scatter diagram and Karp-Pearson coefficient, and along with that we have done coefficient of determination, coefficient of alienation. We also try to understand the causes or the strength or the direction in which the relationship moves. That is the reason of studying the correlation. And for more variable we will discuss in the next class. So by this I simply conclude and say thank you very much. Thanks a lot.